Hello, welcome to the All or Nothing podcast. Our official sponsors are KR Couriers and Transport Limited. This is a Northwest based courier company delivering all across the UK. They can assist in home moves and removals to large, heavy and bulky items, collections and drop-offs. Fast, safe and reliable deliveries. Please get in touch for a free quote. You'll find all the information within the description. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome to the All or Nothing podcast with Billy Moore, and today's special guest is Konrad. I can't pronounce your second name, so
it's absolutely fine. It's Konrad Chrusciel.
Thanks to me. You know, Konrad, I've met you in Next Generation Gym.
Yes.
Right, king of the mat.
Yes.
Took out Paddy the Baddy. Took out the whole team. You're a big, strong kid. A few of the lads were saying to me, get him on a podcast.
Thank you.
He's solid, so
I appreciate the invitation.
And as as people know and who watch my channel, this is about real people with real stories. So I'm interested in hearing your story because, we've all got a story to tell.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself growing up, where you're from and where you're at today.
Okay, so I'm Polish, obviously, as you can tell from my accent. Grew up in Poland, was born during deep communist times. The first kind of memory, not that I remember, but my mom was telling us when we were young, when she took us from nursery and walked back home, she put me in a queue to the shop. That shop was actually closed, and my brother in another queue to another shop that was closed. People queuing outside, not knowing what's going to be in a shop, if it's going to be open. She was going between us and to get anything, basically, just anything, whatever the shop gave. So that was like the first kind of memory of like what the times were. Obviously, over time it got better. I remember when we kicked the Russians out, communists stopped, Wałęsa came to power, and the things started getting better. So the best way to describe it is like when war finished in UK in 1945, we didn't finish until 1989.
So your war continued for much longer than it did when it first ended. Yeah,
complete struggle and like just hard times for everyone. Even toilet paper was like a commodity that people fight over.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because like you can go without food, you can go without like drinking less, but you need to wipe your ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone needs to wipe their ass, don't they?
The thing was, people were amazing for each other. So if someone got in that queue and got something, got slightly more, they share, they exchanged.
Amazing.
Yeah. I remember my dad was telling us always that he worked in a quenching factory when they hardened the steel and stuff like that. And whenever someone needed something made out of steel, came to my dad. So my dad did stuff for them. But then when he needed stuff made of wood, the guy that asked him for like a post box, let's say, work in a lumberjack or
lumberjack.
Yeah. So we went there and got stuff of wood. So people just exchanged whatever they could. Like I said, time moves on, times got better, stuff got available, markets open, everything became available, and now you probably wouldn't see a difference from UK to Poland. Prices are slightly different, but they're catching up.
So whereabouts in Poland was you brought up?
Oh, I was down south,
yeah,
not far from Czech Republic border, not far from mountains. Like in Poland, we've got sea on the south, north, and mountains on the south. So we always seen the mountains in the background with my brothers.
Yeah. I've got a lot of friends who travel to Poland and they go to see the, it's where is it now? Did they go? What's that place that everyone travels to in Poland?
Krakow.
Yeah, so is that where the camps are?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so have you ever been there?
Yes, I've been a few times. When I grew up, the best way to describe it is I always tell people it's 100 kilometers west from Krakow. And fun enough, before Second World War, the town where I grew up was 10 kilometers within German territory.
Yeah.
So after Second World War, the borders shifted west.
See, because I know the Polish people were a tough breed. strong.
Yeah, you see, that's another thing that I tell to people, because there's like, oh, Polish people big and strong and broad, like, but yeah, we were between German and Russia, and they fought over us all the time. So the weak ones got weeded out, because we need to grow big to fight.
Well, you're stuck in between two superpowers, aren't you? You've got Germany and Russia, and you've got Poland, which, like, let's talk about the fact that during World War II, you know, Germany just marched through you initially.
Yes,
You know, it was like the Blitzkrieg,
yeah,
lightning war, smashed them to pieces.
Yep.
And that was the best way to deal with things back then, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And then you've got Russia on that other side of you.
Not many people know that Russia invaded us on 17th of September. So on the 1st of September, Germany started, and then 17th, Russia looked at Poland's like, oh, they're vulnerable. Came from the other side, met in the middle with Germany, shook hands, and that's how it was.
Fucking mad, and you don't realise, see, I understand that, like, you know, for me growing up, I just grew up on a council estate. You know, that was the war I had.
Yeah.
You know, there was the fighting was, you know, on the streets. It was not unlike, you know, Poland or Germany or anywhere like that in Europe. You know, so there was a lot of austerity. When we talk about austerity, we talk about, like, you know, very, very, very dark times.
I know you had food stamps. You had, like, still struggle to get stuff on some points. I when I came to UK in 2011, for the last time, let's say, I worked with a gentleman. He was paralyzed from a chest down, and he was in his 70s when I met him. So he remembered the hard times that you had here, and he said, like, you lost the empire. UK lost the empire over Second World War, so it was tough here. I know that.
But like comparing like the past to the present, you know, and you've never been here, it's hard to understand and kind of, you know, believe it was tough, you know, and it is today, because we've got we've got food banks now.
Yes,
you know, that's unheard of.
It seems that it's getting back to that times when people struggled. Yeah,
you know, I go down by the Vale in Walton and I see queues outside the shop, the community. The Walton Vale community, I think, wow. You know,
in the times when everything is available.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
people struggle. Yeah.
So, you know, what was life like for you? I know you said, like, it was tough. Your mum swapped you from one queue to the next, hoping that you'd get something, and everyone was, you know, it seems like you've got a lot of humanity in Poland. Everyone's sharing.
Everyone's shared stuff. Yeah.
It's similar to Thailand. When I was in Thailand, they wouldn't give you a fucking pot of piss with money or nothing like that. But I tell you what, they would not see you go hungry. Yeah. Whether you were foreign, you know, whether you're one of their own, you know, even in the prison system. You know, I was in a prison, they would not see you go hungry. They'd share food. And I always found that to be, you know, quite nice to that there was an offering.
Yes. And that human aspect.
Yeah.
Like, we can, like, keep my stuff to myself, but if I see you struggle with the little things.
And that was it, because they all like the money, and they like to save, and you know, and I understand that they didn't have benefits and out there like some countries do, and they had to pay for everything. But when it came to food, they made sure you didn't go hungry, and they shared, and that was a kind, you know, compassionate gesture, and I understood. It restored my faith in humanity, and I learned a lot from like why I'm enjoying like interviewing yourself is because I learned a lot from different cultures.
Yep.
You have to travel, right?
Yes.
You have to travel
yeah.
and experience life on the other side and live. I lived in Thailand for 5 years. You know, I've lived in different countries, and I've spent a long time in prison in foreign countries where I've had to be in a shell with internationals, a lot of them, you know, whether they were Polish, whether they were German, whether they were American, and understand that culture and understand how difficult it was for other people. And that's what, you know, I'm hearing now. You know, you grew up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And
I just imagine it to be like just snowing cold and.
Well, you see, when I came to UK, I came first time in 2004.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I said 2011 was the last time.
Yeah.
I was doing uni Poland. I was like, as hard as it was, our parents always made sure we've got everything. I've got 3 brothers, which for Polish standards at the time was relatively big family.
Yeah.
And my mom proud herself in people couldn't tell that, oh look, it's 4 of them, so they struggle. Never ever happened.
Yeah.
Always we had food, well dressed, everything was provided. We always were looked after. So in that sense, we had that kind of sheltered life. So we we never went hungry. We never struggled for anything.
That's
My
nice.
mom, big. How to say that? Yeah, she made sure of that.
Yeah.
Work all her life. My dad worked all her life in the same like factory that he started when he was a young man. And that's another thing for Polish people. My age Polish people. Now it's different. We were taught to work hard for what you need. Myself, I went through school system. My mom made sure that I've got everything provided so I can focus on education. Like I said, 2004, I was in uni and my friends came up with an idea to go and make some money over summer holiday. So one idea was to go to States, but then the visa system there and like struggles. So we scrapped that idea, came to UK. As we joined EU in May 2004, we came in June. Stayed for a couple of months, and the money that I earned within 8 weeks of working lasted me a whole year in Poland. So
Massive,
at the time, £1 was 7 Polish zloty. So in a week, I earned more than my dad made in a month. So doing uni, doing some extra work on the side, living with parents also, which is important. Didn't have bills and stuff, so could afford to like go out with friends and whatever I needed. And then I came 2005, 6 and 7, stayed home until 2011, and then I thought like nothing holding me here, so came to UK. And ever since lived in here.
I remember, when you talk about 2004 when he opened and there was a lot of tourists. Well, I wouldn't say sort of there was a lot of different nationalities coming into the UK because it kind of just overwhelmed. I was living in a place in Bournemouth, right, and it was quite overwhelming because if you've got to understand, right, you like myself and a lot of other people out there who watch the show, my age, they grew up in areas and if you lived in like north end of Liverpool, you never come across a black kid.
Okay.
You never, unless you were down in Toxteth, there was it was that kind of way of living. Then, that's how it has been for years. And then, like the year you opened, and it was overwhelmed with different nationalities, and then you're speaking to different people from different cultures and countries, and there's a bit of a us and them at the time.
Yeah.
I remember, what it was like. It was 2005. 2005 it was up in Bournemouth, and it was just an influx of people.
Yeah, because like within first, I think, couple of years, 2 million Polish people came, just Polish, and then you've got Slovakian, Hungarian,
Kurdish. No,
countries.
it's amazing how many different cultures have come through. So what was you studying?
I did masters in engineering. With there is a part of my uni, like part of my course was teaching. So I've got masters in teaching engineering, basically.
Brilliant.
Yeah, which actually helps a lot with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
When I got to started to jiu-jitsu in 2012, fell in love with that long before, but started training in Next Generation in 2012. The leverage balancing people, that was like easy for me. When Paul was explaining, our head coach, explaining technique, I was like, yeah, that's gonna work like that, because the engineering mind and technique, just sink in straight away.
So you came out, you started the next year in 2012.
Yes.
So you've been here for a long time.
Yes.
10 years.
Yes. 10 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you've committed yourself to that.
Yeah.
That sport.
Yeah. But the story when I fall in love with jiu-jitsu, like back in Poland, when I was doing uni, I did some door work on a weekend, and I travel like 40 minutes to the place where I work, different town. And the guys that work there with me, they actually own a jiu-jitsu gym, like MMA jiu-jitsu gym. And on some point, they invited me for a competition just to watch them and support them. I was like, yeah, fine. So went there. It was weird format because they were wearing gis. Yeah. So stand-up was like full-on, elbows, knees, everything. But once they hit the ground, it's only jiu-jitsu. There's no striking, no elbows, nothing like that. And I was like, wow, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was too far for me to travel. It was like 30 miles from where I lived, and I just couldn't afford to drive there and back. Like
logistically, it's not possible. Is
it just was too far. So then, when I came to UK, I started working with the disabled guy that I work. My brother worked with him, and he was doing door work in Liverpool. And the guys from door had a private classes with Paul Rimmer. So paid him extra, had a private classes, how to handle people on the door safely. Yeah. So on some point, my brother's like, do you want to come with us? and that's how I started jiu-jitsu. I came and stayed, and he left after I think a month or two. He stopped coming. They stopped the private classes, and fun enough, he started in September last year again. And I'm a black belt, he's a blue belt.
You're a black belt and he's a blue belt. Mad, isn't it? So you've just excelled. You've excelled in that sport. How's that sort of helped you, you know, like with your mental well-being and your physical stature? And, you know, because it's important. People need to understand, you know, for me, right, I know I'm saying because it sets me up for the day.
Yes.
I feel good about myself. I went this morning before I've done this podcast, I went there. I've been on the cardio and I'm looking at the weights. I think I've got to do them as well. 99% of the time, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I don't want to do it. Right, but when I've done it, I feel incredible.
Amazing, you know, yeah.
Trying to eat something healthy.
The same with me, and I think everyone who trains will tell you the same. There is another aspect to like grappling sports, which I come to in a second. But the best example for me, the best realization how important it is was the lockdowns when we couldn't train, and I went proper depressed. I was like on my own.
When COVID
hit, like we couldn't go, couldn't train, couldn't meet each other. So that went downhill. And you can go and like run or exercise or do some weights, some push-ups and stuff like that. It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same. Jiu-jitsu gives that social aspect also. And it's a human interaction, human contact, which like most other sports.
Physical, isn't it?
Yes.
Physical contact.
Yeah. And I'm going to go slightly scientific now. Dopamine, endorphin, and serotonin release when you exercise. Okay, so dopamine is because you achieved something. Endorphin from physical activity, just to mask the pain that your muscles are dying, and then serotonin from that
the brain
interaction. The human contact of it. So, like I said, the lockdown showed me that how important it is. Obviously, before. Like you said, on the days that you I can't be asked, and you go and you train and you feel like amazing. I'm so glad I did. So the days when I didn't want to go to training the most, that's the happiest I was after training. Yeah,
and that's what I would come to. So it's like do something you don't want to do, but do it anyway.
Yes, yeah.
That was what was like it enforced to me. Do something you don't want to do, but do it anyway.
Someone said things worth doing are worth doing half-assed.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you can't be asked brushing your teeth, just go and do it for 15 seconds. Don't do it 2 minutes. Do it for 15 seconds. The same with training. If you can't be asked training, go just sit in a gym to start with, and it will draw you in. You will go and train, and then you're going to be so much happier after.
Exactly. And I agree totally with that. And I always encourage people who can, who have the opportunity to get on, do a little bit of exercise. You know, because I know a lot of I love my audience. I love the support that I get. I love the fact that people relate to and identify with, you know, my journey and the guest journey, and I can identify with yours, even though we're both like from different cultures and countries. When I was in Thailand, I was speaking to the boxing Jan, the guy who used to coach me.
Yes,
he couldn't speak a word of English, Konrad. He could not. I'm lucky that you can. He couldn't speak English, and I couldn't speak Thai at the time. And what he did was he pinched me. He was sitting there, and the communication was he pinched me, and I was, ow. And what he was explaining, he said, look, you feel what I feel. You feel the same pain as me.
Yes.
Me and you are no different. The only difference between me and you is the colour of our skin. And that's what was translated back to me. And that kind of put it into perspective. I thought, you know, I'm always looking at the differences and not the similarities. You know, there's no identification because, you know, I can separate myself from everyone. And it's like with ourselves, you know, we can talk about our journeys, but we've both got that, you know, you get depressed when things aren't going for you. I get depressed. Yeah. You know.
We all do, yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. So where did the sport, Jiu-jitsu, and I take you in next year? Because, you know, did you ever think of going into the UFC or?
No, I keep saying I'm too handsome to get punched in the face. That's my excuse. But, again, little story. When everyone gets in a point in training, whichever martial art, whichever training you do, when you get fed up with it, okay? And I got to that point relatively like early, probably like 2 or 3 years into the training. And I went to spoke to Paul Riemer. I was like, Paul, I can't be asked. It's just like the progress stops slightly, that like the mat time is not as good, and you just like the people that you like start smashing you, and it's just can't be asked with this anymore. And Paul told me, go and do Thai boxing instead. Just change it. I did 2 classes of Thai boxing. I laughed that I gave private in Thai boxing and then went back to Jiu-jitsu and never left since. With the private, it was funny because like I did 2 classes of Thai boxing, and then after Jiu-jitsu class, Thai boxing was started, and there were 2 girls that were completely new, and the Thai boxing coach asked me, can you just spend your time with them, just like explaining everything, I'll take care of the rest of the class. So I'm laughing, I gave them private after 2 classes of Thai boxing.
So they were involved
that's my journey with
so
Thai
that
boxing.
they were involved in jiu-jitsu with you then?
No, they just came. I've never seen them again.
No.
Don't think they enjoyed it.
So did you have any fights with Next Gen?
I had competitions. I competed quite a bit. I started competing 6 weeks after I started training. So from my first proper class of training to my first competition was like just over 6 weeks, and I won 2 gold medals at the time.
Really? Where was that?
It was in Manchester. It's online somewhere. If you Google Konrad Manchester, there will like few videos, which I look at now. I was like, this is bad. This is so bad.
Why?
Technique. Yeah, technique.
What? We are our own worst critics.
Yes. But I'm sure if you watch your boxing matches from the very first
I wish
days,
I could watch my boxing matches. I don't think anyone ever recorded any. Because it was back then, we didn't even have a phone.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm fucking prehistoric, you know what I mean?
How old are you?
I'm 49.
Well,
how old are you?
I'm 40. This year actually 40, so it's not that bad. I remember times before internet. Which young people now are like, what are you talking about?
My little boy's like an IT wizard, and he's only 2. It's like he can just scan. It's like I can barely type my name. You know what I mean?
Fun enough, I've seen a kid got a book. And still try to swipe the pages across.
See, that's it's inbred, isn't it? It's ingrained in their mind that's what they do. You know what I mean? So all this, like, you're going forward with your fighting, and so what? You won a couple of gold medals. That's incredible.
Thank you.
And what was the achievements? What was the feelings of it all?
So first of all, learning curve. Like you, as much as you can train and learn in a gym, there is no better learning than on a competition. And if anyone training, go and compete at least once. If you don't like it, fine, give yourself a chance. The adrenaline, the nervous, like how you get nervous before stepping on a mat or get on a mat, it's something that you can't compare with any other experience. You will never experience stuff like that in a gym, ever.
See, I went there last week to Next Gen and done a little bit of training with Molly, and bumped into yourself and Paddy and Shem. Big shout out to Shem Rock. Big fan of yours, Shem. He said,
thank you.
He said he's a beast on the mat. You know what I mean? He's strong kid. Yeah, and I don't do MMA, UFC. I've done a bit of Muay Thai boxing in Thailand. I boxed amateurs as a kid, and I put them both together. So the wrestling and the grappling was never a bit of me. In Muay Thai, it's all, you manipulate the neck, you throw the elbows, you try not get into all that grappling because it's a pushing away, and then the knees are coming in, so it's totally different. And then Molly's teaching us a few moves,
takedowns,
takedowns, put the ear at the side of the head, boom boom, and I enjoyed it. Took Dave Hughes out the game. He allows me to use this place, but big shout out to Dave. And also, while I'm on a big shout out, I got a message off someone.
Okay.
I better. Thanks for reminding me then. That's what he's saying here. He's asked me would I do something for him. Oh, there it is. Hello, Bill. If it's all good, and wondering if you give out a shout out to my brother-in-law, Ian Campbell. Big shout out. Big shout out to you, my mate. This is from our kid. I'm not going to mention his name because I forgot it. I can't even see my phone.
I'm the same with names. I'm so bad with names.
But Ian Campbell,
Ian
you
Campbell.
know, and anyone else who wants to shout out, let them.
Yeah.
But so the medals, you've won gold medals.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you ever feel like, you know, you wanted to, you know, because obviously you're in a gym it's like really like it's breeding champions now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you've got like some really good
it's
kids.
Been like that since I joined.
Exactly.
Like, we had Rosie Sexton, first female UK female in UFC. We had.
What was her name?
Rosie Sexton.
Yeah, Rosie Sexton. Is
Rosie
she Scouser, was she?
Not sure. She lives down in South Hill now.
Yeah.
Really good chiropractor. Amazing. Yeah, really good on the mat. She was brown belt when I joined. I think she got promoted to black belt since then. And yeah, first female in UFC. Got smashed by Jędrzejczak, the Polish girl. Yeah. Unfortunately, but yeah, she made it. Made it there. Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts, who came out from our gym.
I've met Danny. Yeah.
What's
Danny doing then now? Cause
I have no idea. He went to Aspire with Dean Garnett, and I know he had few UFC fights since then. Not very successful. Don't know.
What about Mark Diakasi? Do you know Mark? Mark the Bone Crusher.
Not sure.
He trained in the Four Corners, Mark. You might meet him. You might have seen him. He was in the UFC. Always got him all weekend.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, I'll have to show you the picture later. Yeah. But yeah, he's another kid, but he never trained in next gen.
Don't know.
But you had Danny Hot Chocolate. Who else was there?
Yeah, like I said, Rosie Sexton. Who else from the big names? We got bunch of guys in Cage Warriors, like Nathan Fletcher now. Few else.
There's a new kid there called Luke, isn't he?
Luke. Possibly. But again, I'm not like familiar with the guys in the names. Like I know the main ones, but funny story. On some point, we were finished training, and I went to Paul Rimmer, like, Paul, what's his name? This guy there. He's like, Aaron. I was like, oh, okay. It's like, he's been training with you for 3 years now.
And you just didn't know.
And I just didn't know. Yeah, I'm honestly, I apologize. I'm so bad with names. Yeah.
So go ahead. So Paddy the Baddy,
obviously now Molly
and Molly. So they're the two. They're really quite. They're massively successful at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know,
and they're doing great job for the gym.
They are.
Also, the platform that they have, and they're using it very, very well. Not only for a gym, like Paddy's advocate for mental health and
So do you think since Paddy and Molly have started to win a lot of these UFC competitions, that next gen sort of blew up even bigger?
If in numbers, yes.
Yeah.
In numbers, yes. It always was like, I would say the best in Merseyside in Jiu-jitsu and MMA, as we can tell now. I think we had on some point 3 champions, Cage Warrior champions in a gym. Chris Fishgold also had a belt in Cage Warriors. Don't know if he made it to UFC. I don't think so.
So did you ever think of going any further than where you what you were doing?
I keep saying I'm too old now.
Yeah.
Competing wise, I thought about it, and like I competed a lot as a white and blue belt. Like after that first victory that I had, I think like another 6 weeks later there was British Open competition, and I won gold medal. Not sure if 2, 1 definitely. And I enjoyed it a lot. But then as the time progressed, blue belt still was winning, purple belt still was good. When it comes to brown belt, brown and black belt, it's elite level competing. Yeah. And I wouldn't say all of the guys, but there is a lot of guys that their life is to train and compete. If you've got a job, if you've got like responsibilities other than the gym, I think it's difficult to maintain that level of competition.
Yeah.
And even on Thursday, Friday, we had Daisy Fresh from States, and these are pro athletes. They were competing on a Grapple Fest last night. And people said, like, when I was rolling with Jacob Coach, just shout out Jacob, brilliant guy. The guys from the gym were watching, and they said, like, he's doing to Konrad what Konrad does to us. the ease that he passed the guard, the get to submission attempts, the control, it's just beyond what I can comprehend. Couple of years ago, I think just before COVID hit, I signed up for a competition, but then to go and compete, you have to like up your training intensity, and then injuries happen, and I decided like it's not for me anymore.
Yeah, because it's like you've got to, like, your life, you still got to pay bills and get by, so you're training, you need to be sponsored big time.
Yes, that's the easiest way. Yeah.
To get looked after, if you're getting sponsored, you're getting everything.
To get sponsored, you have to get to a certain level when people want to sponsor you, when people pay better money for private classes with you. So
what's the belt system through in jiu-jitsu like? Because I remember I joined, I was making decisions as a young kid, with the boxing or karate, and it was like Shotogun karate as a kid, and like, we all start with a white belt. You're a novice, get the white belts on, then you go for, I think it was tan, green, yellow, all that stuff, yellow, blah blah blah. And then you knew the tans, the black belt. So what's the process in the jiu-jitsu martial arts?
In jiu-jitsu, like the same, you start as a white belt, and then you get to blue belt, depending on how well you're doing, and it's just assessment of your coach. Like, in our gym, at least, that's how it works. I know there are gyms if you come long enough, like you do enough trainings and pay enough money, they just give you the belt. In here, I think it's like, I'm sure it's a genuine, like, if you start winning competitions, like beating the people that are training longer than you get to blue belt, then goes purple, brown, and black. In between, again, some gyms give stripes on a belt. So as you're doing progress to, like, I think, encourage people and show their appreciation, they just put like a white stripe on a belt, and all the belts go through stripes. And then after so many
similar
stripes,
to dance.
Kind of, yes. But then there is a meme somewhere on the internet when you like a guy with a white belt and like 6 stripes on it, and it's like, when your coach letting you know you shit.
I have to have a look at that
one. Paul doesn't practice that, not with adults, adult kids. Adults belts, kids belts are different. There's like loads of, like, you get white and gray, or white and yellow, or I have no idea. So I know for kids he gives them stripes too.
So how long did it take you to get from that white to a black? Years?
It took me 10 years. I got my black belt last year, so it was, let's say, 9.5. However, I had like 1.5 years with not a single day of training. I injured my shoulders, got the kimura pulled out of me, really bad, and didn't train a single day. So that's out. And then here and there, a couple of months going on holidays and stuff like that. So all in general, I would say like probably 7.5, 8 years. From white belt to black belt.
So it's a long time, isn't it? It's a process, isn't it? Time.
If you think of it, my masters took me 5 years. So this is longer than a uni that you would do uni for.
So what do you use your masters for now? Have you got
nothing.
Nothing. So
nothing. Just adapting to different work.
So you've had like 5 years of like hard labour, putting loads of energy into getting it. Because it gives you, it opens doors for you, doesn't it? Engineering.
It does, yes. But in Poland, what they emphasized the most was that they teach us to adapt to what the work market will bring to us. And I've got guys that do sales from my uni, from my course, do sales, do like, I don't know, other stuff, the fix cars. Like it's not guaranteed that you're gonna work in the industry. Also, they told us if you don't work with an industry within 6 months, the knowledge get like so improved that you have to start over, like learning and catching up with everything. So I wouldn't say it's wasted 5 years. I appreciate that, and I'm glad I achieved it. And it, like I said, helps me with jiu-jitsu, for example. Like the leverage and balance and all that helps a lot. But not using it.
So what's this King of the Mat then?
So the King of the Mat is the competition we've got every year. At the end of the year, usually it's the last training before Christmas. Everyone comes to the gym. Everyone puts a $5 in a hat. And then whoever wins, we get on a mat, get paired up as fair as we can. If there are call-outs, they got call-outs. And then If you lose, you get off the mat. If you win, you stay on the mat, wait for another opponent. And fun enough, you can jump on the back. If you see someone getting tapped or if you see someone's winning, you can just jump on the back, choke them.
Yeah.
Fully allowed. As safe as possible, we try to do it. And then the last person at the end that wins takes the hat, takes the money, and is crowned the king of the mat.
So this was you?
This was me last year.
This was you last year. And who was you up against?
So I was up against Paul Webb, which is, I think, the biggest guy in the gym. Lovely guy, lovely fella. The thing is, we train a lot together because he's a big guy, I'm a big guy, strong. So I know what he does. He knows what I do. So most of our role was trying to outsmart each other. Okay. And I appreciate that when people were looking at our role, there wasn't much going on. Okay.
Yeah.
When everyone else was like rolling and trying to kill each other, we are trying outsmart each other nice and slow. And because he's a big guy, it's hard to have him on top.
Yeah.
And then I have to like use my tricks, which he knows, which don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Then he's trying to use his tricks
Which
that
you know.
don't work. I know don't work as good. So I know there were times where like we're in a position, half guard, like he was on top, and people looked. So we rolling. People looked away, like did whatever, and then looked back at us. In the meantime, we scrambled. I got on top. He swept me. Got in a half guard again, and we in exactly the same position. And people were like, they didn't move. Stop stalling, and we are like, that's a full-on roll for us. That's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll. So eventually Paul came as like, you have to split, it's taking you too long. That was like 45 minutes, I think, of rolling, yeah. Apart from us, was only Paddy and Adam left. So Paul said, you have to split. So straight away I jumped on Adam because I knew it's going to be easier match than Paddy. I won with Adam, waited for Paddy. Paddy choked or face bat Paul. And then we had our roll that took another 45 minutes.
You and Paddy on the floor?
On the floor, yeah. Well, it was a lot of different stuff also. I'll send you some videos of that. I've got one where I grab his hand and like wrist lock him to the ground, picked his leg a couple of times, which like would class as a
Is he very tricky?
He's slippery, I would say, and he's bendy as fuck. Which made it all much more difficult. Yeah,
I think that's why he done so. I like the fact when he his first fight was a knockout.
Yeah.
Wow, bang, went out with a bang. The second one, you think, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
And then he just choked him out, tapped him out.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, so he's got
everything.
He's got everything here.
Needs,
he's brought everything to the table.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. People think like looking at Paddy, even in Cage Warriors, thinking, oh, he's from grappling gym. His main thing gonna be grappling. It's not. Paddy is full-rounded MMA fighter. He's got everything he needs to have.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And he performs better when he gets like almost knocked out.
Yeah.
And Paul Rimmer emphasized that also to us after his fight, that like if you watch his previous fights, when he gets proper chin, he wakes up, he actually wants it more, and he wins the fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I beat him. So.
And you beat him. King of the mat. You've got him here. So, what is it you do with yourself these days?
So apart from training, I almost moved to Southport. I've got a girlfriend there. Spend more time with her, which training suffers because also. Few different jobs, deliveries for Amazon, Lidl, work on a checkout, then try to do some privates whenever I can. So yeah.
But you just get
staying busy.
You're staying busy.
Staying busy. I can't stand sitting on my ass doing nothing. Just can't.
Have you ever come up against any trouble on like in the streets? Have you?
You see, I work on a door since 2013, I think, up to when the lockdown happened. I worked on a door in Liverpool. So yeah, I went through a lot of trouble, which also brings me to Jiu-jitsu. Like the better I got in Jiu-jitsu, better I got in grappling, the calmer I was on a door. Before, when like my early days of training, when people came and give me cheek, I just fought back. I just spoke back, fought back, got in trouble, got to court for beating someone up, and like attacking.
Did you go to court for beating someone up?
Attacking off-duty police officer, which got involved in a situation when my friend got stabbed. He got stabbed in the face, I think with a key between the knuckles. Guy punched him. So yeah, we beat the shit out of the guy, and someone got involved, got pushed away. Turns out he's a busy, and like he was pushing for charges. Got dismissed. Court didn't see any wrongdoing. So.
Well, you're living in that world. That's the way it's you know, it goes, doesn't it? Like you said, that's how people roll when you're involved in, you know, you're not out there looking for conflict.
Oh no.
You don't strike me as someone who's going to go out and, you know, look for a fight.
I never was, but jiu-jitsu made me even calmer and more patient with people. So last days on the door, when people were saying, oh, you Polish cunt, you this, you that, I'm like, yeah, I am. It's like, so. That dissolved the situation completely. And just walk away. So like I said, if you don't feel confident, you're going to get into the fight.
Yeah.
Go and train. And you're going to feel confident about yourself, and the minions won't bother you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So we're coming to the end of this podcast, but what I want to do, and I always say this, Konrad, right? So at the end of every podcast, I always ask my guest a pearl of wisdom, you know, a bit of advice or guidance.
Bit of advice.
What would you say, right, to a young, you know, Konrad coming through the doors of life? If you got the opportunity to speak to you now and go, okay, this is what I'm going to send you on. Where would you guide them?
That's a good one. I probably wouldn't come back from UK in 2004.
No. You'd have stayed?
I probably stayed, yeah. Uni is not that much important.
Yeah.
Probably would stay here. And possibly would be different life for me. But obviously would be very different life for me. But yeah, I think that's the one thing that I will be
brilliant.
saying. Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll put the videos on this with the podcast and any know any socials in the description. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you and ask you a few questions about jiu-jitsu and how you go about it, you know, and about your life here and how you're getting on and stuff like that, then I'm sure they're welcome to that. And next generation, big shout out to all the boys in there, Molly, Paddy, Shem, and everyone else in there that makes it possible, because it's a family unit.
It is. Like, we've got guys coming from all over the world, and we welcome everyone through the door. And loads of them says like how welcoming it is. You go to other gyms and they look at it like, what are you doing here? We don't want you here.
Yeah, you feel intimidated.
Everyone is welcome. That's part of Scouse culture that I found.
Scouse
it
culture.
Is, yeah.
Do you think Liverpool's the best city in the UK?
It is, definitely. I lived in London. I lived in Manchester. Liverpool by far the nicest people here.
Yeah. And with that, we'll leave it at that. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Konrad, thank you.